Hi and good afternoon. Welcome to my daily show. And it's day 9. So welcome to day 9 of my 30-day challenge. I've got with me, and we'll bring on in a minute, Wendy Keir, who's the founder of the Virtual Speaking Pros and is a virtual summit expert. And the great thing, well, I'll be honest, part of why I'm here today is because of Wendy, because it was about a year ago that Wendy, a bit more than that, called me and asked me to get involved in one of the virtual summits. And we're going to talk about that. And I've been involved with Virtual Speaking Pros all the way through, and it's helped boost my confidence and get me looking at how to go live. So let me bring Wendy on screen now. There we go, Wendy, and I'll get rid of that. Welcome to my daily show here on Be Live.
Thank you, Ricky. Awesome. Well done.
Yeah, well, it's going really well. And I have to say, all credit to you for getting me in. Because I remember we'd actually had some contact with the year before. And I think you told me I wasn't experienced enough at that point.
Oh, did I? I had
no online experience. And I think that was the thing. I was beginning to see online beginning to be one of the important areas where we've got to go. So I was very pleased when you invited me to start talking about storytelling on the virtual summit last year, and that was really successful, wasn't it? And how many
people subscribed?
Did you get on that?
Gosh, I think there were around 20 speakers. And the topic, it was all focused on speaking, and I think we had three themes going through it. And there were just under 1,000 people that signed in for it, which was awesome.
Excellent, isn't it? Excellent. So what took you into the whole area of virtual summits? Because obviously it's fairly new area. It's not a field that lots of people are into. What drew you into it?
Wow. Okay, this is a bit personal, but. What happened was, when you start a business, people say to you, oh, you have to speak on the stage, it's the best way to get the clients, you'll position yourself as the expert, rah-de-rah-de-rah. And I always felt really uncomfortable, but, I tried to fight the fear anyway. So I went to started off at Toastmasters, which I highly recommend to everybody. Toastmasters is brilliant, teaches you how to craft and deliver a story, how to really bring the nuts and bolts together. So I did that, and then I got a bit more confident. And then I went to the Professional Speaking Association, and I stayed there for about a year. Liked it, didn't like it, had its good and bad points. But over the years, I've been asked to speak at more and more events. And I was asked to speak for the Association of British Psychologists, it's a mouthful, yearly events, and something the night before within me just snapped. So I was in the hotel room, I just got into bed, said goodbye to Steve, and all of a sudden I got a major adrenaline rush through my body, and then for the next 4.5 hours had a serious panic attack. I had Steve on the phone wanting to call me an ambulance because I was absolutely freaked out, and I ended up in the bathtub, basically just curled up in a ball because I just couldn't cope with how I was feeling. So from that point, I swore I would never, ever, ever do speaking from the stage ever again. So I was ill for a little bit after that because of the stress. I don't know whether it was because it was a rheuma psychologist that it just threw me completely over the edge of, you think you're being analysed. It's totally in the head. It's totally my stuff. So yeah, I gave up from that point and just thought, never again. That was a serious sign to say, Wendy, you just should not be doing this. So I stopped.
So essentially, I'm not going to be speaking in front of people. I'm going to do it online.
Yeah. Basically. I don't like speaking.
The irony of that is that, because as you know, I'm the founder of the PSA, so I've been speaking for over 30, nearly 40 years now. So speaking in front of an audience has never, ever given me a problem. Speaking in front of a camera, on the other hand, That's given me a huge problem. I mean, I'm preparing for the first live event I did with you. I can't believe how nervous I was, and feeling nerves at a level that I have seldom ever experienced before, because I went through because it was all a breeze for me. I did drama training, and it was all I found it really, really easy. But so it's interesting that you've actually found speaking on camera much more comfortable, much easier, and doesn't put you into that problem of having the panic attacks.
No, it's really interesting, isn't it? It's all our own stuff at the end of the day. I don't know what patterns I've got running in my head. How I discovered Virtual Summits was I was asked to speak on a summit in the States. And I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. I'm not in front of a live audience. Because I'm dyslexic as well, it takes quite a long time for me to remember a speech. Then I forget it because I can't, that's just part of being dyslexic. So I did that, and within half an hour, I had like 147 leads. And I was just absolutely blown away. I'd never had that amount of interest from the previous 3 or 4 years that I'd been speaking live from on the stage, where I was terrified. That's probably why I didn't do well, to be fair, because I probably looked like a rabbit in the headlights and was probably freaking the audience out. So I just thought, right, that is it. That's what I'm doing. I can help people share their message. One of my values is about education. So this goes globally, and people get access to good quality training and information without having to travel, and it's global and it's accessible. So I just thought, right, that's it. That's what I'm doing. And that's what I did.
I've noticed, and I know we've had discussions about this, that you're tending to attract to the virtual summits, to virtual speaking pros, predominantly women.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I have a very strong gender interest and gender background. So why do you think that is? Why do you think this is drawing more women to you than men?
It's really interesting, Ricky. Remember when we first started, all of us had this really big conversation about, should it be for men, should it be for women, should it be mixed? Now, I'm keen on a mixed group. I like the dynamic of a mixed group.
Yep.
But when we put it out there, that isn't what happened. And I think we had one guy, didn't we, who joined for a space of about a week, and then he was gone. So everybody who comes in is female. We just seem to attract.
To be honest, that was Stephen, who I think was looking because he knows us, and he was looking to see what was happening, and I think he checks out all sorts of stuff because that's his nature. But no, it's interesting that very few. I'm seeing more and more women interested in this. There's a very strong sense of women tending to get involved. It's going to be interesting because I think as we get more to the point where people doing virtual keynotes, and I'll be honest, we're away from that yet. A lot of the meeting planners are just not got that together. But I think this is actually going to be quite valuable for women because the business of speaking is quite grueling, and actually it wasn't until I changed gender that I really got the level of concern, because women are traveling on their own. They're regularly staying in hotels on their own overnight. They're traveling to foreign countries. They're traveling to different places, parts of the country, and therefore exposed to a level of risk which men just don't experience, aren't aware of. And on top of that, there's all the caring responsibilities with children. And I was listening to a talk from Sheryl Sandberg, who is the chief operating officer at Facebook, about to go off to do a TED talk, and her young daughter came out and grabbed her around the leg and said, "Mummy, please don't go." And again, men don't get and experience that level of connection. And so going off for a couple of days and I can say this from personal experience, having lived as a man. It was no problem rushing around the world, in and out of airplanes, spending only a couple of days at home and still back on the road. It was fine, but it's a much tougher job to do.
I wonder if some of it runs a bit deeper than that as well. In my experience, when I put this out to a group of people in my network, the guys weren't interested at all, wouldn't touch it with a barge pole, didn't want to be associated with it. And I know them quite well. I get on with them well, but they didn't want to be involved. And, sometimes... Sorry, Ricky?
Did they give a reason for that?
No, and I didn't probe. To be honest, I was just focused on the people that were interested. For me, that's the most important thing. I don't really... If people don't want to get involved, that's fine. But I do think it's interesting. And... it's one of the reasons why I'm doing an all-female summit, because I do think there is an imbalance in terms of within the speaking arena of guys referring guys and guys predominantly getting some of the best gigs. I was looking at an event, a big online event the other day, which was really interesting, which had about 25 speakers, 24 of them were white guys and one woman. And you'll know better than me, because this isn't my specialist subject in inequality in the speaking, but you know better than me. But there are some serious questions to be asked in terms of how do we level the playing field, because it does, to me, feel like it's still a closed environment for predominantly male speakers. It's out there now, I've said it.
No, oops. Get me back on screen again now. I think you're right, and I know that from a networking point of view, the first time I ever went to a National Speakers Association meeting in America as a woman, I was quite shocked at the level of difference in the way in which women network to the way that men network, and for the first time, I was finding people, women were actually saying, "Oh, you need to meet," and they wouldn't just say you need to meet someone. They would actually, later on in the day, come and bring the person to me, and so that they actually made sure we were connected. Now, that's something I never ever experienced with men. There was a tendency I found a lot with men to try and cover their connections. If they found someone who was going to be useful, that's it. Let's try and prevent anybody else getting to them because this is mine. So there was that real sense. But no, it's interesting that, because I'm not seeing men actually getting involved on male speakers. And bear in mind that the PSA has always had a pretty much 75% male balance, and nothing we could do could change that. It's been nearly always male presidents. But I am getting a sense that women are seeing the whole online speaking thing as a great opportunity, and there's like a momentum building up of women realizing that they can be a force, and that this is their turn. This is their way to go. No, it's interesting, and I can see why you're going for the next event as an all women event, because. Just men are just not joining in. Do you think part of that is the fact that it is predominantly women and that men feel uncomfortable when that's the case?
I think some of it is about what you said, is that women are much more prepared. This is going to be a generalised statement now, folks. Women are much more prepared to work collaboratively. Guys will protect their list until the world's end. So it's what you said about the networking. They protect hunter-gatherer, whatever. They protect their own, whatever you call it, own tribe, own connections, which I understand because they've spent years building it up, and I understand why they do it. But I think women think more collaboratively in terms of they see strength through that relationship rather than, it's hard in business. It is bloody hard to set up a business and try and manage it on your own, and not work with other people and collaborate with other people. So I think women are much more collaboratively focused, whereas guys are a bit more get off my land.
So what do you think if people join virtual? I mean, I've really enjoyed the last 6 months working with Virtual Speaking Pros, and we've got an enormous amount of content that's there now. I mean, I think I've done 5 masterclasses, and that's 4 of us have each done 5 masterclasses each. I know you've done a couple as well, plus the things. Do you want to talk a little bit about what people get from joining Virtual Speaking Pros?
I think one of the strongest, it's interesting. I started doing a video the other day, and I was meant to be talking about Virtual Speaking Pros and the masterclass that I had coming up for members. And as I was doing it, I actually started to think, this time 6 months ago, I never could have delivered a live masterclass because I wouldn't have the confidence. And I'm the founder of Virtual Speaking Pros. And even being the founder, my level of confidence has significantly grown to the point where I can now deliver a live masterclass, I can close sales, I get a, whatever the word is, you know, good ratio, can't remember what you call it. And that's what it's given me. And I can see that within other members. So now you're doing, Ricky, Facebook Live, so your confidence has grown. And when that confidence grows, you can then start to think about, you know, sales, what products, what services, okay, what's the next stage on from this? So what it really does is it gives you the skills to develop the confidence, be clear on the message, and then you take that wherever it is you want to take it. But for me, Virtual Speaking Pros is about, you know, people who are speaking at free events live or getting paid for live events. The Virtual Speaking Pros is really about enabling people to become professional online speakers, which means that they can earn a regular income from using their voice speaking online. So that's how we see Virtual Speaking Pros. So for me, it's about confidence, clarity of message, and then thinking how you can package that.
Oh, I've got a few comments coming in of people who are, have to catch you later, still at work, shouldn't be getting hooked into this. Oh, thanks, Andrea, for popping in. Really good to see you. So yeah, we'll catch you later. It's interesting. I noticed on live shows that actually we don't get a huge number of people live, and yet I'm looking at all my shows that I've seen. I'm getting between 100 and 200 views within. This is only within a week. So people are coming in and having a look. So we don't catch huge numbers of people actually while it's live, but some come in, and that's really nice that we get a few people coming in. We've got a few here at the moment.
I think that's an important thing to acknowledge as well, Ricky. What you've said is we've moved into this instant reality of I want it now. If I'm interested, I'm going to click it. I'm going to listen to it. It's a big ask these days to get people into. Mind you, I listened to someone for an hour this morning while I was in bed, but it's a big ask to expect the audience to sit there and listen for 45 minutes, an hour. So you produce it, you go live, you be happy with the numbers that you do have, and then you just let it run, let it do its own thing.
Yeah, I find webinars sometimes a little bit. I was listening to a webinar last night, very, very good presenter. And she's a well-known blogger. She has lots of coverage, but it was a 2-hour webinar. By the time she got into the Q&A as well, and you know, I'd done the hour, and I wanted to watch Big Brother. I thought, no, I'm gonna. Oh, it's nice to be able to just watch something where you don't have to make your brain work at all.
Was she selling something?
Yes, she was, but actually she was giving away a huge amount of content, and there was masses of it. And if she was selling something and I missed the sale because I had to bail after an hour, and I think this is the problem. I mean, I know I've got a challenge with time, and we're looking at 20 minutes already, so
you're doing well.
Yeah, we will come to an end, but it's yeah, I think it's really good, and it's great. I'm seeing Bev and a few other people beginning to start doing some really good stuff. Are you going? I know you've got some expertise in email marketing. You've got a couple of courses around that area as well. Do you plan that to be a big part of what Virtual Speaking Pros is doing as you move forward? Not just about the speaking, but actually about being able to market and get the sales out of it. Yeah.
Well, I do a bonus masterclass every month, and my speciality isn't so much the speaking, obviously, because I don't speak live on the stage. I speak live online, but you know, you obviously deliver around speaking, and the other three deliver around other different topics. But my area of expertise is the email marketing, is the summit, is the digital stuff. So there are always bonus masterclasses in there, and there's tons of stuff about growing your list in there. It's really important to think of email marketing as the glue that holds the connection with the person, with your audience, with the people who you want to keep warm. It's the glue that holds things together online in terms of your communication. That, to me, that's one of the best ways to look at it.
No, I think this is I have found as I've been doing these shows every day, a couple of things have been happening. First, it's been forcing me to manage my time more effectively, because I'm having to make sure I'm ready. I'm having to get my agenda ready. And on one day I didn't have an agenda. I thought I could just wing it. Oh, no. You can't. You need it just to keep you going. It doesn't not necessarily stuff you show on screen. To start with, I was showing everything on screen, but I'm realizing I don't need that. I just need to know roughly where we're going and what we're going to talk about. That's important. But I'm also finding that trying to pick on how do I get this into different places? How do I share this out? What point do I share it out? I'm now realizing I've not been connecting this into my blog, and my blog is what connects into my list. So I'm not reaching my list at the moment with this, because it's all been about social media, and the social media audiences are a fickle bunch, I have to say. They're
very needy.
It looks as if it's really easy. You're reaching loads and loads of people. I see, by the way, that LinkedIn are about to start live video. So
live.
Yep.
Wow.
Richard McCann, who you may know, a PSA.
Yeah, I know Richard. Yeah.
Richard does a little tip on public speaking every day on LinkedIn. Yesterday, he did a live video one, because he's been one of the early adopters, because I think he's a regular. They've given this first of all to people who are regular users. So this is obviously part of the whole influence of Microsoft. Now that Microsoft bought LinkedIn for 28 billion, was it? At the end? But it's quite clear that Microsoft can see that Google and Facebook have dominated the social media, and the only way into it is there. And it's a good fit. You can see why Microsoft would go for it, because their software is predominantly corporate. LinkedIn is predominantly corporate. It's a good match, and it gives them an opportunity to deliver I think what they're going to do is they're going to turn LinkedIn into a business level social media
that's interesting.
platform, which is interesting. And I'm noticing I'm getting much more response on video. I was talking to somebody yesterday saying, that they're predicting by 2019 that video will represent, they're saying 80 to 90% of traffic on the internet, but I think that may be stretching it. But,
yeah, it might be slightly over. I think the thing is, we all digest information in different ways, don't we? So it's good to have a mixture, if you can, of video, even a podcast, not even a record. I've started now, when I do a blog, I do it as a podcast as well. So I'll write the article, and then I'll read it out, and then I'll stick the reading on the article.
Oh, right.
I've started doing that, so I double up content. But there's no reason why you couldn't do it on video as well. So you just repurpose it onto 3 different platforms.
You just take the audio and as a podcast, yeah. No,
yeah.
I'm certainly going to start running this on running these onto my website. This weekend I've got to try and look at how I can actually make that work, so that it actually goes in and
I think that's a really good point.
I don't want to have to spend an hour every day or 2 every day trying to sort the website out to get this up. It's got to go up quickly.
Well, but if you hadn't, we were talking about virtual speaking pros and what you can get out of it. If you hadn't gone, right, I'm doing it, I'm just going to do it and see what happens, you wouldn't have had the opportunity to learn all these different things that you need to do.
Yeah, true.
And that's basically, sometimes you've just got to do it, because otherwise you don't know that you've got to connect it to your blog. You don't know that you can use it this way, so you can cross-purpose the content. So I think that's what Virtual Speaking Pros does, is it gives people the confidence to go out there, do it, and then learn, and then up their game and take it to the next level.
Absolutely. So, 25 minutes. I'm going to call that bring this to a close, because I think otherwise people don't listen in. got to be quite quick. Wendy, thank you very, very much indeed for joining me. Just so that everybody knows, Virtual Speaking Pros. Now, if I'm right, it's first month is £7, and then it's about 29.
Yeah, it's $7 for the first month. So it's a 20-day access pass, so you can try it for 28 days, and then after that, it's $67 a month. Okay. And the reason why it's that price is because the training is live. So every session, every week is live. So you get to ask questions and interact with the experts like Ricky. You won't get that anywhere else because everything else is pre-recorded or it's a course. So it's uniquely different in the sense that it's live content, live training.
And people get an opportunity to also have their own work evaluated and commented on by professionals as well. So it is very much a weekly masterclass, to build up. So I think it's certainly well worth it because it's not just once, it's once every week. So it's a good sort of hour and a half a week chance to look at things and hear from experts and get some feedback. So. Right, so hopefully we'll see a few more people joining us on Virtual Speaking Pros, which is on Monday, every Monday at 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock British Summer Time, which I think is about, about 10 o'clock Eastern.
Don't ask me, I haven't got a clue. There's no way on the planet I could do that without Google.
Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Wendy. Really appreciate it. And
thanks, lovely.
Look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.
Take care, Ricky. Bye.
Bye. So there we are. Come and join us on Virtual Speaking Pros.
Can I share it anywhere for you?
Oh, hang on. We're still live.
Oh. Tip number 1, learn how to turn off.
Okay, fine. I've just dropped Wendy off. So there we are. Do come and join us. Virtual Speaking Pros. You can find online there all the details and information about that, and they're coming up all the upcoming programs. Friday is Ladies Go Live. Please come and join us there. I'm hosting a panel there at 2:30. If you go to ladiesgolive.com, register. Everything will be available from there. We'll tell you how to get in, how to do everything. And don't forget, tomorrow night on BBC Two is the second episode of the No More Boys and Girls programme, looking at gender equality in schools. And I'm going to be addressing that and talking about that on Thursday on my show. So I shall look forward to that. Sorry, tonight. Yeah, that's it. That's tonight. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. I'm just getting myself a day behind. Okay, fine. Thank you very much indeed. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.